Okay, so my name is Jeff Frable. I'm a Bixby resident. I'm a Bixby grad, class of 1987 clients.
Well, tell us about the award that you recently won.
Well, the award I won was given by the Oklahoma Society of CPAs. The Oklahoma Society of CPAs is a 6,000 plus member organization, a professional society in the state of Oklahoma. It's the collective voice for the CPA profession. Um, I started out working with the Tulsa chapter of the Oklahoma Society of CPAs back in the early 2000s, was president of that organization, and that gave me the opportunity to become involved with the state board, the state board, the Oklahoma Society. And from there I was able to get a board position. From there I was able to serve on the executive committee, and from there I actually was president of the organization about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And so every year we have an annual members event, and they give out various awards. And each chapter, there's maybe 20 CPA chapters across the state. Oklahoma City, Norman, any of the various, and they all give out their distinguished CPA awards. They give out public service awards, and the big award at the end of the night is the Hall of Fame award. There's an accounting Hall of Fame. Not very many people know about it.
That's the one you got.
That's the one I got. Yeah, and it was a very humbling experience. It was a very exciting experience because it's kept a secret the whole time, and the only people that really know about it are a select few within itself, and then the current president, because the current president gets the script for the night that he reads, so he knows about it that morning. And they have to work, they do a whole presentation, so they work behind the scenes with the recipients' loved ones to pull the information together for that night's presentation. So there were several people involved, my wife, my partner, our administrative director in our firm that knew about this, but I had no clue. And so there's only 53 people, Hall of Fame, and so it's kind of a neat deal. And having served as president and been to these annual member meetings, knowing when that award's announced, it's fun because you sit there and you kind of, knowing what goes on to pull all that together, you kind of sit there and look around to find the person, because they kind of talk about the person, and they don't really announce the name until the very, very, very end. After they've told you basically everything about the person, then they finally say their name. So once you try to put two and two together and try to figure out who this person is, so that you can capture their early when they figure it out that it's them. And so the night of the award, they had given the public service award, which is for basically the CPA in the state that does a lot of public service. And considering the amount of work that I do in the community and all that kind of stuff, I've always kind of thought that I would be eligible for that award, but there's a lot of people that do a lot more important things than I do. And I realized that, and so when they had given the award, I knew very early that it wasn't me, and it was no big deal. I had been nominated before in the past, and it was just, it's maybe, but I didn't. So when they started in on the Hall of Fame award, I leaned over to my wife and I said, "This is the award I really want to win one day." And figured maybe I had a shot at some point in time, but obviously not now in my mind. And so as they started talking about the various positions this person had held in the society, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, I've done that, I've done that, and I've done that. Okay, and I forget what they said, but when they said it, I knew it was me. And it was one of those, holy crap, it's me. It was very emotional and very, like I said, very humbling, but it was very surreal because they were talking about the things I had done. They had talked about where I was born, coming from northeastern Pennsylvania, an Oklahoma native, and then they started in with the stories about meeting my wife, and it was, so I would come back into this consciousness of listening to what they were saying, and then I'd slip back into this surrealness of that they're talking about me. And Okay, so the more and more as I slipped back in and back and forth between realizing and understanding what they were talking about, and then slipping back into just not believing it was all about me. I was sitting at a table with three of my partners and their guests or their spouse, and one by one they started to just kind of keep turning around, looking at me the whole time, going, "Is it you? Is it you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." And I just I just put my hand on my wife's knee and just that kind of kept me grounded in the situation. And as they talked about various things, I would slip back and forth between being very emotional and then grabbing control of my emotions. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, I've got to get up and give a speech here in about 5 minutes, and I've got to be composed, and I've got to figure out a way to do this. And because, like I said, I tend to be a very emotional person, and so this was very, very overwhelming for me. So in the presentation that they were reading letters from people I knew and friends, and so they were talking about words of encouragement and all this, and so every letter that was, or part of a letter that was read, just was an emotion. And then they got towards the very end and they read some excerpts from a letter that my mom and dad had sent in, and that was the worst. So but again, the whole time I'm sitting there going, I've got to get up and give a speech here. And so then at the very end they said, well, before we announce the winner, they basically move into a video montage of pictures. And so they did this song, or this video of my favorite song, and all these pictures that my wife had pulled together, and they were professional pictures as well as family pictures and all that kind of stuff. And so they got through all that, and they said, of course, now you know who our award winner is, and they called me up. And so I got up, and I accepted the award, and I know the president. He served in my executive committee when I was president, a really great young guy. And he goes, "You want to say a few words?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess I kind of have to." So when I got up to give my speech, I put my award kind of on the podium, and somebody said something, but I looked over to the corner and my kids were there. And my wife had worked to sneak my kids in, and so they were there, and they came up and hugged me, and it was just that was just over the top. So, but it also provided a really good segue, because I got up to the podium, I looked at my wife, and I said, "That was really dirty for you to do that." And it kind of broke the ice. And as I got up, I had the opportunity to really, I just really calmed down and was able to focus in on what I was supposed to do. And in a situation like that, after you give a speech like that, you think there's so many people you should have thanked. But I ultimately just got up, and I thanked the Lord for what He had been doing and what He has done in my life, because He's the reason why I've been blessed this way. I thank my wife for putting up with me and letting me do the things that I'm able to do, and then thanking my firm, because like I said, my partners are the best, and the people I work with are just the best. And having them, we received quite a few awards that evening as a firm. There was my award. My other partner got a distinguished CPA award. We had 2 trailblazers, which are new. So there were several of us that got awards. It was almost like the CCK gala night. It was really neat as a firm. But I was able to make it through and give my acceptance speech, and then once we were over with, just saying, so many people came up to congratulate me. It was just a really neat deal. But the award is given for service to the society as well as service to the profession, and it's made up. There's a certain committee that comes together, and they elect someone into that Hall of Fame. And so, like I said, it was always something that I kind of wanted to do, or I always kind of wanted. I thought maybe one day I might win that.
Would you like to take this opportunity to tell the world that your name is not Jeremy?
It is not Jeremy. It is not Jeremy Lott. There's a few people that think I'm Jeremy Lott, and he's a good-looking guy and a great man, but I'm not Jeremy Lott. I am Jeff Frable.